It's the Friday Morning Thumb on the Live 88.5 Morning Startup.
Yeah, it's movie reviews and a pick for the weekend. It's our friend Christopher Redmond, Ottawa filmmaker and film critic, with the Friday Morning Thumb. And what do you want to do this week?
Well, hey guys, let's talk about Mockingjay Part 1, since this is what everyone wants to probably talk about. It's the newest film in the Hunger Games saga.
Right.
And
Saga.
Well, and like I said, it's Part 1, so I'm going to give part of my thumb up, because this is really kind of an incomplete film, as all these last installments seem to be, right? For these teen movies, they always split them up. So you go into these things with knowing you're like, oh, it's not going to get closure. I'm not going to get that satisfaction I know I'm looking for. It's kind of like 2 hours of a TV episode and then waiting a year for the next 2 episodes, right? But lengthwise. So, but this one, part of the appeal of the Hunger Games films, what I've liked anyway, is that they're a little bit of a media satire, right? Kind of a light satire. So those first films are about kids who get thrown into this deathmatch game, which is like a reality TV series, and only one person can survive. So there's a little bit of a send up to this, reality TV culture that everyone's obsessed with.
Right.
So I'm wondering, okay, this new film, they have to get out of that, because the second film was very repetitive. It was doing that same thing over again. So this film, what are they going to do to change it up? And really what they're doing now is playing up with the propaganda aspect a little more. So the Jennifer Lawrence character has been recruited by the rebellion to take over the Capitol, and they're trying to turn her into the face of the rebellion. So she's doing these presentations where she's trying to recruit all these people to join the battle, except she just doesn't really have the energy for it, right? She kind of doesn't like faking it. So they're filming her and they're giving her direction. Okay, lift the flag in the air and wave it. And they got a blue screen behind her, and she's like, join the rebellion, everyone. They're like, okay, we got to put her in the middle of it, right? So this is the strategy. So they literally put her in the middle of one of these cities that gets bombed and all these innocent people are killed. And then right when she's hitting this sort of emotional breakdown, they throw the cameras on her and they're like, okay, tell us what you're feeling. And so she's really all riled up, and then she can really get into it. And so there's some fun to be had there. And again, she needs to wear the right costume before she gets into character. And there's a lot of things there that are kind of fun, because otherwise, it's not really the love triangle. Every one of these movies as well has to have a love triangle. That's not really what interests me, but it found some of those elements that I actually found quite fun.
Okay. All right. So it's a kind of a thumbs up.
Kind of a thumbs up. But again, my reaction, sometimes I feel like more of a reporter at these things than a critic, because I see hundreds of films a year. So I kind of gauge my reaction based on the people around me. And, one of the women behind me, as soon as the movie ends, she's like, that's it? And her, her daughter's like, well, that was 2.5 hours. She's like, well, geez, it felt like it was just getting started.
Right.
And, I kind of felt the same way. So it's nice to be validated by how everyone else felt.
All right. What about The Theory of Everything?
Yeah, so this movie is going to be talked about as the biography on Stephen Hawking, because that's really what it is. But interestingly enough, I didn't realize this till the end of the film, it's based on a book written by his wife, Jane Hawking. Right. So it's really a twirling romance that takes place in the 60s. And it's very nice. It starts off the moment they meet, and so that's sort of when his universe begins in terms of this movie. I know. Well, you got to use the puns, right? Because that's what he's doing, right? He's trying to figure out how the universe started, and he wants to find this perfect kind of mathematical equation that will tell us how the world started. Mm-hmm. But as the movie goes on, it's really a story of this love story. And if you're looking at it for the science, if you want to come to it to learn a little bit about his science, you're going to be disappointed. Okay. If you're coming to have a good cry, you're going to not be disappointed. I was there with my sister again doing the reporting thing, and her face was just melting by the end of it. She was just, it's a very heartfelt film, and it's tough to see him as his condition really worsens. I mean, ALS got a lot of news obviously last year with the Ice Bucket Challenger this summer, and that's what he has, right? It's called Lou Gehrig's disease, and now it's well known as ALS. He was only given 2 years to live. He's lived about 50 years now with this condition, and the performance that Eddie Redmayne gives in this film, where he's slowly kind of deteriorating, and eventually the amount of effort just to put a smile out there. He's at the point now, Stephen Hawking, where he's just communicating by blinking. Right. And so, but the performance that he gives, the amount of emotion he's able to give through a simple smile or just a little grimace, really, really incredible. We're going to be hearing a lot about him during the Oscars.
Who's Eddie Redmayne?
He's the guy.
Never a name I've heard before.
Yeah, he is in the movie Les Miserables. He's the one who, if you've seen the film, he's the guy who kind of gets gloriously shot and falls out the window, and he's holding the French flag. So that's his kind of big death scene. But he's this young actor who's up and coming, and this is really going to make a name for him.
Okay. Sounds like a couple of winners, and certainly we've been hearing a lot about The Theory of Everything, so it's good to hear that it's
It is. It
good
was one of the
product.
big films that TIFF people were talking about, and people are going to like it. It's really a popular film. It's not just if you're looking for a science film, go see Interstellar. If you want to see some romance, Theory of Everything.
Okay. All right. The Friday Morning Thumb. It's Christopher Redmond, Ottawa filmmaker and critic. We'll put a link for him at live885.com. And then click on Startup. It's 8:15 now.